vegan, and he made some little blades of glowness. In every side. All right, Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop. Oh my goodness, it's like a kid sometimes. Sorry, but I was listening to Christmas music and share a little bit of that with you. We are almost done with this target. You guys have been doing a fabulous job, and we're going to kind of keep on going. You have done so much with this, and we're going to end kind of going back to markup, markdowns, but we're going to look at it kind of in a different way. So we are going to hear sometimes percent increase or an increase. Another word is appreciations. Of course, we already know that this is a markup. So this means it's going to be more than 100%. You're adding to it. So all some things that we might see or deal with. So right here it says a percent increase occurs when a new amount is greater than the original amount, such as when a store marks up the price that they pay for an item to gain a profit. We also hear this word appreciation. Usually, like your house can appreciate in value when you buy a house by making improvements on it. And basically, you're increasing the price or value. So, a lot of times, if you make improvements on something and it hasn't had a lot of wear and tear, or you redo that item or refurbish it, a lot of times you could possibly get appreciation, which means the value goes up. So, we're going to look at that. Now, there is, oh, you can't see it because of the camera. There is a formula you can use. So to find the percent increase, you can take the amount of the increase over the original. Okay. So meaning that the cost, we have all that glitters accounting sheet. These are the items they have. This is their cost. So this is their original. And this is what the customer pays. So this is the part. Now I can find the difference and then divide the difference from the original and get my percent increase. So that's one way I can do this. So I can again go to my calculator and I'm going to type in 90 minus 60. All right, and that gives me 30. So I'm finding the difference. So 90 minus 60. So my difference is 30. Here I could go. So I can do that. Then I'm going to use that difference, the amount of the increase. So it increased by 30. I'm going to divide it by the original, which is 60. So 30 divided by 60. And again, I'm going to divide 30 divided by 60. It gives me 0.5, which then I need to change into a percent. And remember, that's when we move the decimal point or multiply it by 100. So 0.5 times 100 gives me 50%. So this was increased by 50%. All right, so there's a quick, easy way to do that. However, if you're like, what? I'm not going to remember that. That's fine. Let's go back to what we do know and what we've been doing. So we know that this is our part, this is our whole, over our percent that we're looking for, 100. So we could just, again, continue to do this. We're not going to throw away. Again, I'm going to multiply these two numbers. So 90 times 100. And then I'm going to divide it by the number I have here, divided by 60. And I get 150. 150. And remember, an increase is the amount above 100. So this is where I would say, 150 minus 100 leaves me with just 50. So you can see how I got the increase of 50. Either way is going to get you there. So let's do this both ways. And again, you decide which way makes most sense to you or what you want to stick with. So here I'm going to do 240 minus 120. and that gives me 120. So now I'm going to do 120 divided by 240. And that leaves me with 120 divided by 240. Nope, not 240, 120. Because I need the original amount. See, it's so easy to make these mistakes. So, well, that is 1. And again, if I multiply, move the decimal over, that's going to be 100%. So this was an increase of 100%. All right, so again, the other way of doing that, and I have to remember that I can't just put an increase of 1, I have to do a percent. So if that is, you're like, I can't remember that, let's go back to our way that we know how to do. Why is my pen not changing? Oh, please say that my recording's going to keep on going. It's weird. All right, so I'm going to pause it. All right, I'm back. We're going to see if kind of this works. So anyways, so again, I can do this the other way where I'm used to my part, which is 240. Because again, markups, the part should be larger than the whole. 120 equals my percent over 100. So I'm trying to figure out what this is. So again, this is where I'm going to do 240 times 100 divided by 120 gives me 200. So 200%, but remember, I have to subtract the 100%. All right. So now you have these two. I want to know the percent increase for earrings and pin. You can do this either way, whichever way makes the most sense to you, or that's the easiest for you. All right. So go ahead, pause the video, get those answered and checked. Now let's go to percent decrease. A percent decrease obviously occurs when a new amount is less than, so again, less than, we're going to be subtracting, than the original amount. An example of a percent decrease is the amount of water that evaporates over time. Water evaporates at different rates depending on the size and shape of a container it is in the temperature. We've also seen percent decreases for sales. So it's the same thing. The other word that we also hear is depreciation. It's a decrease in price or value. A lot of times I see, again, this is marked down. Sorry. I feel a little scattered. So that's when we're going to have a sale or a percent off. And usually we're going to be maybe subtracting from 100. So it'll be less than 100. So depreciation, when I think depreciation, you usually hear that when you're talking about cars. Like your car depreciates its value over time because, well, you drive it and it's wear and tear. It's hard to, other than getting a brand new car or rebuilding the whole thing to get the car that you have either at the same value or higher. So that's why typically cars depreciate over time. Another thing that depreciates is technology. However, technology is a little bit easier to rebuild and appreciate the value. But depreciation is just a fancy way of saying decreases over time, the value goes down, it's a markdown. So again, we're going to do the percent decrease. So we want to find out, last time we found out the percent increase plus 50% plus 100%, because that's how much I charge. This one, we're looking at rainfall, so something a little bit different. So while we're looking at this, we have the same formula, Okay, so that's going to be nothing new. So this is going to be starting height. So of course is our original, which would be also our whole. This would be our part or our ending amount. So again, I can find the amount of the decrease. So the difference would be 7.1 minus 4.5. Again, I would type that in. 7.1 minus 4.5 gives me 2.6. So I'm going to use that to find my percent that's decreased. So that's when I then do a division problem. I could do 2.6 divided by the original amount, which is your starting, 7.1. I can also write it like this. Same thing. So when I type that in, 2.6 divided by 7.1. It's going to give me a really long one, so I'm going to round it to 30. And this is a decimal, so again, I have to move it, so it gives me 0.366. So I have to move the decimal point over 2 spaces or multiply it by 100, which gives me 36.6%. And it's going to be a negative because it's a decrease. So the ending height was a decrease of 36.6%. Pretty easy, right? But just like I did the other way, I can do this using our proportional relationship. So I'm going to do this down here because I have more room. So I can do my part over whole, percent over 100. 100, I'm finding the percent, and this is going to be my part, 4.5 over 7.1. So again, I can circle these two, multiply and divide. So 4.5 times 100 divided by 7.1 gives me 63. That isn't quite right. So it gives me 63 point. I'm going to have to round. So this 8 makes the 3 go up. So 63.4. Well, that's not the same, but remember, we're looking for the decrease. So this is where I'm going to subtract 100 minus 63.4. So 100 minus 63.4. Oh, that's what we have. So I have a decrease in 36.6. So it's kind of the same way that we did markdowns, where we subtracted last. So you can do that same thing. So here, again, I could do this either way. So 0.9 and 2.3. So 2.3 minus 0.9 gives me 1.4. And so I'm going to use that 1.4 divided by, and again, it tells me up here, the 1.4 divided by the original amount. And this is 2.3. So I'm going to go divided by 2.3. Remember, in division, order matters. So 1.4 divided by 2.3. And I have to move this over. 60.8. So 0.068, move this over 2, 1, 2. So I have 60, negative 60.8. So there was a decrease of 60.8 or 60.9. And again, I can do this the other way as well. B would be percent. My part is 0.9 and my whole is 2.3. So this is where I'm going to go 0.9 times 100 divided by 2.3. Gives me 39.1. And I'm going to subtract 100 from that. And it gives me my new total, or 100 minus 31.9, 60, and see, we just rounded a little bit differently. 60.9. All right. So either way works. You just got to decide. So you're going to do C and D. Work on those, get them checked, pause the video. All right. Hopefully that wasn't too bad. Now on the rest of these, you have 4 problems left. You guys almost got it. Now you notice that sometimes they're going to ask for a percent decrease. So this is where you're going to maybe subtract. And this one asks for a percent increase. So this one asks for a decrease. So you might do part of a whole, percent over 100, subtract. So this is where you're going to go back to where we did the markup markdowns, where we did problems like these, and work on those. It's going to be very similar to the ones about the game, Dontrell and Amy. Then you have 2 more. Okay? So you guys can do this. You decide which way. There's always 2 ways to do it. All right? Do these last 4 on your own, and you got target 5. You'll be ready for Wednesday for the project assignment, our last one before our assessment on Friday. All right, good job, you guys.